Welcome, Patriots, to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, broadcasting live from just outside Chicago, bringing you unfiltered truth that makes the establishment squirm. So what sets us apart from every other show? Well, we don't just talk at you, we interact with you, reading your live reaction to the day's explosive news as it unfolds. Remember, your voice matters here, and we are going to feature it on screen for millions to see worldwide. Remember to check out our exclusive merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and show the world where you get your real news. Every shirt, every hat is a statement that you won't be silenced by big tech censorship. This is week 18 of Donald Trump's historic return to the White House, and tonight we've got 5 stories that'll make your blood boil and your patriot heart soar. But first, let me take you back to May 26, 1961. Exactly 64 years ago today, President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress and declared America would put a man on the moon before the decade's end. The establishment said it was impossible. The Soviets laughed. The media doubted, but Kennedy understood something fundamental. American greatness comes from bold vision, backed by relentless action. Now today, President Trump channels that same spirit with his nuclear revolution, not reaching for the stars, but harnessing the atom to ensure American dominance for generations. And just as Kennedy's moonshot transformed our nation, Trump's atomic orders will reshape global power dynamics forever. Now, we're streaming live on YouTube to millions worldwide, plus Rumble and X, so make sure you're following us on all platforms because big tech is trying to throttle our reach. Share the stream right now via text message to bypass their algorithms. X viewers, repost to your followers. Let's flood the feeds with the truth. Remember, your super chats and Rumble rants, they're coming in hot, and we'll be reading them between segments. Send them now, even before we dive into tonight's bombshells, and we'll feature them on screen for the world to see. You want to support the show privately? Hit those donation links in the description. Yes, please do so. You can use Give, Send, Go, or PayPal. And tonight we're exposing Trump's Memorial Day masterclass that left the swamp gasping for air. Yes, it is Memorial Day, and I was out with the family today. We took out the DeLorean time machine, took it in the local parade. There's me and 2 of my boys. There's Angie and I. And here's some of the shot you can see from downtown. It was a beautiful, beautiful day.
There's so many details you never saw in the parade.
All the cars lined up for Memorial Day, honoring America's veterans. And that's what Donald Trump did, from West Point to hallowed grounds to Morristown's tarmac, where he delivered pure, unfiltered leadership. And then we've also going to reveal the 8 executive orders that just launched America's nuclear renaissance, demolishing decades of red tape with the stroke of a pen. We're also documenting the spectacular crash of the globalist gravy train as Trump and Mike Johnson execute the largest spending cuts in 3 decades, while forcing foreign corporations to build American or get out. Plus, the media's criminal cover-up of Biden's medical decline, a conspiracy so deep, congressional investigators are circling like sharks. And then James O'Keefe. Yes, he has just released some footage that they never wanted released. A 360-degree view inside Epstein's temple, complete with celestial ceilings and guardian statues. What was really happening in that bizarre structure? Well, O'Keefe has got the answers that'll shake the foundations of the elite's darkest secrets. Now, do you want exclusive access to our team, behind-the-scenes content, and our members-only 24/7 Discord chat? Well, join our YouTube channel memberships. Each level has unique perks, and you'll get special recognition in the chat room. It's more than support. It's joining the resistance against mainstream media lies. Now, every story tonight connects to a larger truth. The establishment's stranglehold on information is breaking. They control the narrative about Biden's health, about energy policy, about spending, about everything until now. Trump's not just governing. He's detonating their entire control system, one executive order at a time. Remember, this is your show. This is your platform. This is your voice in the wilderness of propaganda. Together, we're not just watching history, we are shaping it. The revolution will be live streamed, and you are a part of it. So we're going to dive into the bombshells. We're going to expose what they're desperately trying to hide. So buckle up, patriots, because the raw feed starts now. Let's welcome you to the show. What's up, Fran? From Addison, Illinois. Great to see you. Michael Jones is in the house. Loyalty to Truth. Goat Biscuit. Patricia Duff is here as well. C. Roberts, Tracy Mullen. Let's do this. Joseph Putterer. We've got Ben Brown from the Jersey Shore. Aeon is here. Just glad to be an American. We got Matt B. Man, Goat Biscuit from Utah. James Treventi. What's up, James? Buckle up. Matthew Harris in the house. What's up? Resto Guy, America. Karen Finley, sure you's in the house. What's up? Like and share the stream, folks. XJ Dub is watching from Canada. Sicilian Chick in Crown Point, Indiana. Yeah, Crown Point, interesting place there. A lot of people from Illinois head out to Crown Point because it still has a respectable commute if you want to get into the city of Chicago. Interesting little town there. We got Scontech in the house, Matthew Harris, Gary Hastings, Pothead Kenny, Yeppers. Who else is in the house? Let's keep going. Amy DeLong, Mrs. Pothead Kenny. Who else? AMG, what's up? Who else? We got Ed Arthur, just who am I? We don't know, Ed. Only you know the answer to that. Dave Wallenberg in the house, Utah ZSS. What is that? What is that profile? Oh, nice. What is that? It looks like is that a Camaro? I think that's a Camaro. Yeah, maybe. I could be wrong. Who else? We got Mia Q, 1967. Tony, Southwest Michigan. Stephen H. Great presentation. Thank you, he says. Oh, we're just getting started. We are just getting started. James Alexander, East Texas in the house. Robert Dawson, Missouri. I'm going to jump to the current here. Brand 47. Angie's here. Hey, there's my girl. Yes, there's Angie. Let's see if we can bring up, let's see, Angie. Where's that big chat? Let's see. And there's Angie. Hi, Angie. There's Angie and me right there in front of the DeLorean time machine earlier today. Yeah, beautiful day for a drive in the parade honoring all of our veterans. I think I lost the button here. Let's see. Where's the button for... Oh, chat. This one. There it is. There we go. Okay. Brian's cleaning up some stuff over here. Monkey and me in the house. Cody is here. Deb Noble is here. Overeducated. Nice DMC-12, says Scontech. Yes. It is. Okay, Utah ZSS, a 1996 Camaro Z28 SS. Okay. Yeah, I remember when those came out, everybody was like just going crazy because it was the new body style for the Camaro. And yeah, that was a radical shift in design. Brand 47, Gray's Sports Almanac. Yes, it is actually on the dashboard of that DeLorean time machine. And we did finally get our DeLorean time machine carrier fully operational. Yes, the Doc Brown truck is finally working. Sergeant SJSQ, thanks to all of our vets, absolutely. Jeremy Olson, good pay-per-view. Aha, the frog. Yes, this is our frog. Let them have it, Gary. Nothing less than epic. Forgotten American. How many gigawatts does it require? Well, 1.21 to be exact. Beans and Frank is here. Always asking the question, how did he get the beans above the Frank? How did it happen? We don't know. Okay, Angie, happy Memorial Day to you. Yes, wasn't it a beautiful day? It was absolutely gorgeous today. And now we're in the studio, and we are just ripping the truth, getting ready to rip the truth. Got a really great show for you lined up, and I'm excited to get it going for you as we continue to... hey, Lizette, you rock. Michelle Fiacco, Shadow Watcher, Chevy Junk. Uh-oh. Oh, you must be a Ford guy. All right, Joe Casper, happy Memorial Day. Max Quav, Scooby Dragon, Loyalty to Truth, giving a shout out. Tom B420, a ZL1 Hennessy Camaro Exorcist rules. Yeah, I've seen your pictures, Tom. That thing is sick. That thing is a beast. Now, there was a car that was rolling with us today. 1,500 horsepower, super drift car. Look him up. Slow GTR, that's the handle. You'll find all of his awesome stuff. He was rolling with us today. Okay, I'm trying to wait and see where are we at. The raw feed starts now. Okay. Guess what? We got a new thing on the show today. Something we're starting. What happened here? Okay, there it is. Okay, we're going to bring it up. This is a new feature. And, oh, wait, we have some super chats first. I want to get those real quick. I'm just rambling on here. Hope you don't mind. Tommy420, what's up? $10 in the jar. Angie, would you go on Amazon and buy some fake money? Would you do that? I got to fill this thing up. I got to get some prop money for the Alex Jones was right jar. So every time someone drops a super chat, we can put it in. Craig gifted a membership to the one and only Don Smith. Ron the Don Smith. Okay. All right. Enough of my rambling. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for this. Here it is. Boom. There it is. Trivia time. This is new. All right. So before we go into our segments, we're going to drop a trivia question, and then you guys have an opportunity to answer that question. We'll give you the answer afterwards. Todd just put the poll up in the live chat, so you can also weigh in there. So which U.S. president established Memorial Day as a federal holiday in 1971? Was it Lyndon B. Johnson, A, Richard Nixon, B, Gerald Ford, C, or John F. Kennedy, D? Just drop the letter in the chat room or in the comments, and then we're going to get to the answer after the segment. But first, let's get into the news. We got Trump's Memorial Day military masterclass. While corporate media spent Memorial Day polishing Joe Biden's participation medals, Donald J. Trump ran a weekend gauntlet that showcased everything the swamp hates: iron stamina, battlefield leadership, and an America First agenda that refuses to kneel. From the marble silence of Arlington to a engine-roaring gaggle in Morristown, Trump reminded this nation that the presidency is a bullhorn for truth, not a lullaby for elites. We're going to walk you through the moments one at a time, and you decide whether you want caretakers or a wartime CEO who bulldozes complacency and rebuilds empires. Now, here is the hard truth, though. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. You see it every time you fill up your tank, you buy groceries or pay the bills. Prices are up, your dollar's down, but there is a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something that's real, something proven. I'm talking about gold, an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers in India. Just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. So head to nextnewsgold.com. You'll find a link right below this video to learn more. That's nextnewsgold.com. Just tap more, or you can call 877-646-5347. And when you talk to Colin, will you tell him that Gary Franchi sent you? Please do. Okay, now before I get into what happened with Donald Trump's just weekend, we had quite an experience at the White House on Sunday. Take a look at this. Here is the moment that Donald Trump exited Marine One. Now, we were actually waiting for hours and hours, and then we find out that his arrival was delayed by an additional hour. Now, we generally try to get to the White House about an hour ahead of time to give us enough time to stage. Last time we did this, he showed up an hour early. There's Trump. Everyone's wondering, what did he give? What happens here? Watch. Yeah. Look at that beautiful moment right there. Probably handing that Marine a challenge coin. There he is. Now there's a moment. So our camera caught this, and my camera guy is like, Gary, Trump literally just looked at my camera, looked at us. Watch. And he points right at our camera. Boom, right there. Look at that. Look at that moment. Beautiful. This is what we live for. I mean, Donald Trump recognizes the Next News Network. He knows who our people are, and he gives full props. Look, I think you got the nuclear football coming up. There it is. Boom. Nuclear football right there. I was just teaching my son about that. He loves military, planes and helicopters. And when I told him, he's like, football? He's like, what do you mean football? I had to explain it to him. It was quite adorable. But what's not adorable is what we just found out with respect to Mayor Brandon Johnson. This just in. A Memorial Day disgrace. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson shuns fallen American heroes, opting to celebrate Africa Day instead. A slap in the face to every patriot who died for our nation's freedom. This is what passes for leadership in Chicago.
And right here in... Hello, I am Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I am proud to join you in recognizing and celebrating Africa Day. The continent of Africa is made up of 1.2 billion people with diverse countries full of rich traditions, cultures, and heritage.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go ahead and entertain what this guy did. Clearly a disgrace, snubbing every single soldier who's ever served with this Africa Day. Why? This is America. What's the need to recognize another nation on the day we recognize our greatest warriors in this country? No idea. But let's get into what happened here with Donald Trump, because he began by transferring raw confidence to 850 razor-straight cadets. No bureaucratic fog, just a thunderous pledge that their future commands the world's mightiest army. Let's go to that moment.
Every cadet on the field before me should savor this morning, because this is a day that you will never, ever forget. In a few moments, you'll become graduates of the most elite and storied military academy in human history, and you will become officers in the greatest and most powerful army the world has ever known.
Beautiful moment right there. I mean, put that in contrast to what Mayor Brandon Johnson just did, right? Now, this is not motivational fluff. It's rocket fuel poured straight into the veins of America's next warrior class. And then we have this. President Trump, he welds those graduates onto a lineage of giants. Grant, Pershing, Eisenhower, Patton, making it clear that the baton they carry is heavy with blood-earned glory. Watch.
As you receive your commissions as second lieutenants, each of you continues down the same hallowed path walked by titans and legends of U.S. military lore, giants like Ulysses S. Grant, John Blackjack Pershing, Dwight David Eisenhower, the one and only Douglas MacArthur, old blood and guts George Patton, and Norman Schwarzkopf. All great. So many more. They and countless other patriots before you have walked out of these halls and straight into history, and today you officially join those immortal heroes in a proud ranks of the long gray line. You know that term, so beautiful, the long gray line.
A 2,000-pound measuring stick slammed onto the parade ground, daring every cadet to measure up. Now he broadens the canvas, Lexington to Fallujah, proving that freedom survives because patriots sprint towards cannon smoke, not away from microaggressions. Watch.
From Lexington to Yorktown, from Gettysburg to Sicily, and from Incheon to Fallujah, America has been won and saved by an unbroken chain of soldiers and patriots who ran to the sound of the guns, leapt into the maw of battle, and charged into the crucible of fire to seize the crown of victory, no matter the odds, no matter the cost, no matter the danger. All over the world, our soldiers have made sacred the ground where they shed their blood and showed their valor. From Seminary Ridge to San Juan Hill, Belleau Wood, Omaha Beach, Leyte Gulf, and Ardennes Forest, Chosin Reservoir, all over, and even a place called Pork Chop Hill. And in all of those battles and so many more, some of the best, brightest, and bravest have come from right here at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, one of the great fabled places anywhere in the world. America's Army has never failed us, and with leaders like the West Point class of 2025, the Army will never fail. We will never let you down.
A war drum reminder that liberty is a generational knife fight, and the next round just started. Ceremony over, scalpel out. Trump guts the Pentagon's social engineering detour, declaring the military's lone job is to dominate and annihilate threats anywhere, anytime. Watch.
The job of the U.S. Armed Forces is not to host drag shows, to transform foreign cultures, but to spread democracy to everybody around the world at the point of a gun. The military's job is to dominate any foe and annihilate any threat to America anywhere, anytime, and any place.
Mission clarity restored, enemies rattled, diversity czars suddenly short of oxygen. In Trump's Memorial Day's remarks take us deeper, listing battles from Bunker Hill to Bassajon. Trump's orders us to lift liberty's torch high, high, high. A triple tap drilled into America's backbone. Roll tape.
From Bunker Hill to Bastogne to Cantigny to Coral Sea, from Gettysburg to Guadalcanal and Concord to Kabul, America's best and America's bravest have fought, bled, and died so that we could pick up the torch of liberty, raise it high, 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 and carry it onward to places they could never have dreamed of before.
3 highs, 1 mandate: elevate the flag or step aside for those who will. Now, leadership isn't just tanks and tariffs, it's honoring families who paid in full. And Trump vows their fallen heroes will never fade into bureaucratic oblivion. Listen.
For the families of the fallen, you feel the absence of your heroes every day in the family. These are great families. These are wonderful families. In the familiar laugh no longer heard, the empty space at Sunday dinner, or the want of a hug or a pat on the back that will never come again. Every Gold Star family fights a battle long after the victory is won, and today we lift you up and we hold you high. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving America the brightest light in your lives. It's what you've done. We will never, ever forget our fallen heroes, and we will never forget our debt to you.
Reverence with spine. No hashtag sympathy, just an ironclad promise. Now back to Washington, D.C., he swaps dress uniform for a hard hat. And DuPont's steel deal, pumping billions into U.S. mills while keeping control firmly on American soil. Here you go, watch.
Another question. You announced on Friday about U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. Yeah. What will the ownership structure look like? What made you satisfied about that?
It'll be controlled by the United States. Otherwise, I wouldn't make the deal. I went to the unions, to all of the local unions. They all wanted it. And I'm doing it because all of the congressmen came in, about 5 of them, and the others, I understand, are in concurrence. And they asked that I do it. Everybody seems to want it, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the final is. But they're going to invest billions of dollars in steel, And it's a good company. Nissan's a very good company. We'll see. But it's an investment, and it's a partial ownership, but it'll be controlled by the USA.
Economic nationalism with a welding torch, exactly what the globalists fear. Now, the New Jersey tarmac, pressing a frenzy, Trump reveals that he slid the tariff deadline from June 1st to July 9th, just enough rope for foreign negotiators to tie their own compliance knot. Observe.
Commission President von der Leyen, did you discuss the 50% tariffs, and did you agree to release?
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I've told you specifically, but I told anybody that would listen, they have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
Calendar move, target on change, pure leverage. Same gaggle, different grenade. Trump torches Harvard for 31% foreign enrollment and rampant anti-Semitism, then demands a straight-up student list, accountability with teeth. Watch.
Look, part of the problem with Harvard is that there are about 31%, almost 31% of foreigners coming to Harvard. We give them billions of dollars, which is ridiculous. We do grants, which we're probably not going to be doing much grants anymore to Harvard. But they're 31%, but they refuse to tell us who the people are. We want to know who the people. Now, a lot of the foreign students we wouldn't have a problem with. I'm not going to have a problem with foreign students. But it shouldn't be 31%. It's too much because we have Americans that want to go there and to other places, and they can't go there because you have 31% foreign. Now, no foreign government contributes money to Harvard. We do. So why are they doing so many? Number one. Number two, we want a list of those foreign students, and we'll find out whether or not they're okay. Many will be okay, I assume. And I assume with Harvard, many will be bad. And then the other thing is they're very anti-Semitic. Everybody knows they're anti-Semitic, and that's got to stop immediately.
So if Harvard won't stand with America, America shouldn't bankroll Harvard, plain and simple. Now, still on the tarmac, Trump fires a verbal warning at Moscow. No mushy, deep concern, just a blunt condemnation of rocket attacks on civilians. Take a look.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
That's deterrence. Draw the line, call the shot, back it with credibility. Now, while pundits clutch their pearls over pronouns, Donald Trump spent Memorial Day unleashing relentless stamina and ferocious America First vision, energizing cadets, honoring the fallen, reviving U.S. Steel, tightening tariff vice grips, hammering Ivy League freeloaders, and staring down tyrants, all capped by a no-holds-barred gaggle in Morristown. That's not a president in retreat. That's a wartime CEO on the march. If the establishment can't keep up, maybe they should trade their press passes for participation ribbons. Now, here's my question for you. Which moment from Trump's Memorial Day tour most demonstrates the leadership America needs? West Point's military refocus or the Harvard confrontation? Drop your answer in the comments below and grab your Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, so let's get the answer to the trivia question, shall we? Okay, here is the answer to topic one's trivia. It was Richard Nixon. He established Memorial Day as a federal holiday in 1971, moving it to the last Monday in May. And looks like you guys answered in the poll as well. Richard Nixon got 48% of the vote. Lyndon Johnson, 23%. Gerald Ford, 13%. And 16%, John F. Kennedy. Well done. Well done. 48% of our viewers, they caught it. All right, we're going to move on because we have another Trivia question. All right. Which president created the Atomic Energy Commission in 1946? Was it A, Franklin D. Roosevelt, B, Harry S. Truman, C, Dwight D. Eisenhower, or D, John F. Kennedy? All right, you can leave your answers in the poll or in the comments below in the chat room, wherever you want to lay your answer. We're going to tell you after this segment. They told us it was over, that America's glory days were fading in the rearview mirror while China and the globalists took the wheel. They said our energy grid had run on fairy dust and wishful thinking, but something just happened quietly behind the scenes, and it changes everything. In a low-key moment at the White House, President Donald J. Trump unleashed a chain reaction, not just of policy, but of power. 8 executive orders with one mission: rebuild America's nuclear dominance. This is not a pivot, it's a transformation. We're talking about micro reactors for military bases, streamline AI-powered permitting, energy independence so complete it scares the hell out of our enemies. But before we go to the footage, because yes, we've got it all, here's something else you need to power up. Just as Trump's revitalizing America's energy infrastructure, you can revitalize your body's foundation. By age 40, collagen production plummets, causing wrinkles, sagging skin, and joint pain. That's why I use Ageless Multi-Collagen. 5 key collagen types from 4 premium sources, hydrolyzed for maximum absorption. No clumping, no odor, just smooth blending into your morning routine. Clean ingredients only, no GMO, gluten, or artificial junk. Every order feeds a hungry child through NoKidHungry.org. If you want to participate, go to healthwithgary.com for 51% off, free shipping, 60-day guarantee, and a free 14 foods for amazing skin ebook. That's healthwithgary.com, because rebuilding America starts with rebuilding yourself. Now, Trump's first executive order dismantles all the red tape that has choked American energy innovation for decades. No more begging for power from foreign grids. This order brings advanced reactors directly to defense and critical AI infrastructure. Watch this.
Thank you, President Trump. This is a huge day for the nuclear industry. Mark this day on your calendar. This is going to turn the clock back on over 50 years of over-regulation of an industry. American greatness has always come from innovation, and we were very innovative. We led post-World War II in all things nuclear, but then we've been stagnated. We've choked it with over-regulation. Today, Will is going to walk us through a series of 4 executive orders. Each of these help attack separate issues that have held back this industry. And with us today, we've got a number of CEOs from the industry representing some of our largest nuclear providers, but also a big change. This is a time when capital and competition has finally come to this industry. We've got venture capital, we've got startups coming into all aspects of small modular nuclear, and we've also got an EO that's talking about the importance of us having a secure supply chain of being able to get that fuel load here in the United States as opposed from foreign sources. This has impacts on national security, on our defense, and again, President Trump here today has committed to energy dominance. And part of that energy dominance is that we've got enough electricity to win the AI arms race with China. What we do in the next 5 years related to electricity is going to determine the next 50, because this is the first time in history where electricity can be translated into intelligence. And we need that intelligence for every aspect of our economy, but also for defense. Pete Hegseth in the Department of Defense has been a key part of this, and this is going to help us make sure that we're providing the defense we need, where we need that AI, need the electricity, but also to secure our bases here at home and around the world.
That is leadership with his eyes open. In a world of AI weapons and drone warfare, the side that keeps the lights on wins, and Trump knows it, and now the Pentagon does as well. Now, for years, energy policy was written by activists masquerading as scientists, but one of the new executive orders flips the script, requiring gold standard science as the baseline for any regulation. Watch.
This executive order is entitled Restoring Gold Standard Science. One of the issues that we've had in recent decades is that government policy has been made on the back of junk science. Scientific studies and findings that have included conflicts of interest or scientific misconduct The purpose of this executive order is to recenter policymaking around gold standard science, scientific efforts that have followed appropriate scientific methods that don't include those sorts of conflicts of interest, and to ensure that when departments and agencies are relying on scientific studies to promulgate rules, to promulgate regulations, that the science that they're relying on is highly reliable and available to the public.
He did a very good job, didn't
He did.
How many people here could have done that? I don't know. I think a lot. Good job, Will.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Is that it?
That's all we have for you now.
Is that it? Is that all I got to do? Listen, it's not just about science. It's about honest science. Remember when they said trust the science? We know how that turned out, right? Yes, no more cherry-picked data from climate alarmists. From now on, if it can't hold up under scrutiny, it won't shape policy, finally. And when industry CEOs met with Trump, one of them said this move turns back half a century of over-regulation. Okay? This order demolishes the old licensing system that strangled innovation. Roll tape.
The big change here is not only the technology has come around, but we have some of the largest companies in the world, the hyperscalers, who need this energy for AI, who are now working with us to fund the development and construction of the next generation nuclear. Nuclear is a 24/7 resource. These data centers run 24/7. Some of them will cost $200-300 billion, and they want to run them all of the time. So we can't use intermittent resources. We need something that's always on, 24/7, and nothing does that better than nuclear. The problem in the industry has historically been regulatory delay. Mr. President, you know this because you're the best at building big things. Delay in regulations and permitting will absolutely kill you, because if you can't get the plant on, you can't get revenue, and the interest costs are horrible. We're wasting too much time on permitting, and we're answering silly questions, not the important ones. For example, let me give you an example. In 3 places in this country, we're trying to license new reactors at sites that already have reactors. Yet I have to spend $35 billion at each site just for the NRC to do an analysis that says this is a good place for nuclear. Well, guess what? We've been running nuclear in that community for 4 decades. Why are we even asking that question? I'd rather spend that $35 million, 3 times $105 million, perfecting a design, start building the foundation, and getting going. We need to do this for America.
Are we doing something about the regulatory in here?
Oh, yes, sir.
You are, sir.
That's going to be a big factor.
Yes, sir. That issue I just described will be addressed in this EO, and many other issues that we don't have time with the President to cover.
But you say it's very, we've contemplated just about everything. Right?
Well, this, Mr. President, this energy dominance council that you have created is something I haven't seen in 30 years. It brings together all the pieces of government in one place to expedite the process. Under Secretary Burgum's leadership, this has been an amazing, amazing thing. It used to be the case that I have to run to about 5 different places in Washington to get one answer.
That's great.
And now it's all together in one place. So all I know about Secretary Burgum and Secretary Wright is if we haven't gotten it right, we'll get it right shortly, and there'll be another order for you to sign. But thank you so much for your leadership.
Did you hear that? They're not talking about deregulation for Wall Street. They're talking about building actual infrastructure. American-made nuclear tech free to operate at full speed. Now, energy is the bloodstream of the military. Without it, planes don't fly, AI can't analyze, and defense networks go dark. This executive order rewrites the national defense strategy, literally. Here's how they're putting it. Watch.
Sir, this next executive order is intended to reform the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. You heard a few of the people here speak about the complex regulatory processes that have really held the nuclear industry back. Before 1978, there were 133 reactors built in the United States. Since 1978, only 2 new commercial reactors have come online. That's because of overregulation, and the goal of this executive order is bringing that regulatory process into line with the actual needs of the industry and public safety. with an end goal of quadrupling the amount of nuclear power production in the next 2.5 decades.
It's fantastic. It's exciting, right?
Love the sound of that Sharpie, right? Small modular reactors, right on base, portable, reliable, and impervious to foreign interference. That's the kind of infrastructure upgrade that actually defends the homeland. Another order sets a radical goal. 3 experimental nuclear reactors designed, built, and operational in just over a year. Now, most agencies can't even approve a permit that fast. That's because Trump is demanding results. Watch.
The first executive order we have for you relates to the issue that Secretary Hegseth was speaking to, which is the need for incredible amounts of power at defense installations and also in AI-focused installations. What this executive order will do is speed up the approval and adoption process for specialized nuclear reactors at these sorts of sites. It also involves the Department of Energy making available the necessary fuel stock. It also creates a special envoy position and a strategy around nuclear technology export, the idea being that we can grow American industry on the back of foreign purchasers who are interested in this sort of technology as well.
I'm just thinking, as you say that, I just said, what about auto pens? Could I use an auto pen? What did Biden do? Did he have an auto pen at the desk?
Nuclear power.
No, he didn't do events like this. Yeah, he used nuclear power. You know, he didn't do events like this, I guess. It's all right. Otherwise, you walk into the other side of the room, have an auto pen sign, right? Here it is. It's phase 1. Very big phase, very important phase.
President Trump obviously taking a jab at Joe Biden's auto pen, which is now becoming one of the biggest scandals in American history. Now, going back to this executive order, it's basically like the equivalent of saying build a Hoover Dam and do it on a TikTok timeline. Impossible? Maybe. But that's exactly why Trump set the goal: to crush the excuse machine. Now, the biggest tech firms in the world, hyperscalers, they're racing to build AI data centers that require uninterrupted 24/7 power. Intermittent energy just won't cut it, and Trump's team knows it. Watch.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order on reinvigorating the nuclear industrial base. There are a number of core issues here, including the issue with fuel feedstock that one of the speakers mentioned before. This executive order, among other actions, includes an invocation of the Defense Production Act in order to spur a closer collaboration with private industry to ensure that we have the fuel supplies we need for a modernized nuclear energy sector. In addition to that, it includes crucial provisions relating to the development of a nuclear energy sector workforce and a number of other key building blocks to the overall nuclear industry that we're trying to spur here.
Right. Thank you.
I love these moments. Now, you know, every day of permitting delay costs these companies millions of dollars, and it weakens our global position. This order forces every agency involved into the same room under the same mandate. It's simple. Get it done. Now, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has been a bureaucratic bottleneck for decades, approving only 2 commercial reactors since the 1970s. And one of Trump's new orders tells the NRC, adapt or step aside. Here are the facts. Watch.
This next executive order relates to nuclear reactor testing, sir. The degree of overregulation and governmental inaction in this space in particular has had the effect of throttling development of new, highly modernized nuclear reactors that could really revolutionize the field of nuclear power generation. So this executive order, it orders a revised regulatory process to speed this whole process while preserving, obviously, core safety concerns. It also creates a new pilot program with an expectation that we will have 3 new experimental reactors online by July 4th next year.
It's amazing. That's
So what this means is simple. The rules are being rewritten, not to lower safety, but to prioritize results. because an energy revolution can't happen if the referees are still stuck in 1978. Now, the final order invokes the Defense Production Act to turbocharge America's nuclear supply chain, from uranium mining to component manufacturing. This is industrial policy with teeth. Watch.
Sure, I'll just add to that before going to Will. Energy security is national security. If we don't have reliable energy for our basing, for our troops, whether forward deployed or domestically, we're vulnerable. So by having small modular nuclear capabilities, which are rapidly being fielded, that we can use on our bases here and around the world, we're creating an environment where if things happen elsewhere, the military can be relied upon. Also, we're including artificial intelligence into everything we do. If we don't, we're not fast enough. We're not keeping up with adversaries. You need the energy to fuel it. Nuclear is a huge part of that, modular or otherwise. So we're going to have the lights on and AI operating when others do not, faster than everybody else because of nuclear capability. So this is a big game changer for us as well.
Now, this is not just a memo, it's a call to arms. Trump is treating energy dominance like a wartime priority, because in many ways it is. 8 executive orders, 1 vision. The critics will rant, the globalists will panic, and the media will pretend this never happened. But if you're paying attention, you know. This wasn't just paperwork. It was an atomic sledgehammer to the failed energy orthodoxy of the past. What Trump signed over the weekend wasn't just a policy shift. It was the starting gun for a race that America has to win. Because if we don't control our energy, we do not control our future. Now spread the word. You're watching the Next News Network. We don't just follow the headlines, we fuel the signal. And there's more to come. So here's the question for you. Should America build 100 new nuclear plants to achieve total energy independence from foreign oil? Just simply comment yes or no in the comments. And show your American pride by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked down below. Okay, trivia time, trivia time. Let's find out who the answer is for which president created the Atomic Energy Commission in 1946. It was Harry S. Truman. That's right. And you guys got it right again. Man, you guys are smart. Smart, smart, smart. 48% said Harry Truman. Second place, Dwight D. Eisenhower at 28%. And what happened to the poll? I missed the poll. I was reading the poll, and you canceled the poll. Why'd you do that to me? Okay, well, there it is. I see it now. Franklin D. Roosevelt came in at 19%. John F. Kennedy at 4%. 426 voters. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next trivia question of the evening. Which president signed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930? Let's see how smart you guys are. Was it Calvin Coolidge, A, Herbert Hoover, B, was it Franklin D. Roosevelt, C, or D, Warren G. Harding? Can't wait to see what you guys answer. The poll is up in the chat room. And of course, you can always answer in the comments section or in the chat room by just tapping A, B, C, or D. Now we're going to move on to the globalist gravy train that has just been derailed. This is it. The moment the globalists feared has finally arrived, and they're watching in real time as the system they built is burned to the ground by the one man they couldn't stop, President Donald J. Trump. We are now several months into the second Trump presidency, and what he's doing isn't just governing, it's disassembling a parasitic machine that's fed on American labor, wealth, and sovereignty for decades. This is not some Reagan-era tweak. This is an economic shock doctrine. Entire federal agencies are being defunded. International trade cheats are being punished. The regulatory state is being dismantled brick by brick. And make no mistake, Trump is not doing it alone. His generals are executing the plan with military precision. Now, while Trump rebuilds American sovereignty, our food supply faces an invisible threat. That's right, grocery bills, they're sadly up, but the real crisis America's honeybee population, the foundation of our natural food chain, is collapsing. Patriot Bee's veteran-owned mission restores bee habitats, supports local beekeepers, and protects our agricultural independence. It's not just about honey. It's about food security and self-reliance. You can subscribe at patriotbee.com with code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. You'll receive the Patriot Bee Digest with actionable content for your family. Every subscription funds restoration projects across America. So visit patriotbee.com because patriotbeebest.com because protecting our bees means protecting our republic. Catch the buzz today. patriotbeebest.com. Now, let's start with the man at the fiscal front line. We're talking about House Speaker Mike Johnson working directly with Trump. He's executing the largest federal spending cut in over 30 years, and he's not slowing down. Take a look.
This is the largest cut in spending in at least 30 years and arguably of all time. We're cutting over $1.5 trillion in federal spending while we check all the boxes and bring about a pro-growth economy. And the CBO has been panned because, as you said, they don't do dynamic scoring. What that means is they don't account for the growth that will be fostered by all the policies that are in this big piece of legislation. This is not theoretical, Jake. Just remember the last Trump administration. After the first 2 years, we brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S. The growth was off the charts. It was an average of about 3% of growth in GDP. Why? Because we cut taxes and we cut regulations. We're doing the same thing this time around, but on steroids. This is a much larger package, a much more robust package with all these features that will really get the economy going because wages will rise, job creators, entrepreneurs, risk takers will have more ability to expand their businesses. U.S. manufacturing onshore.
Now, that's not a budget tweak. That's a budget purge. And what's fueling it? Trump's economic vision, deregulation, tax relief, and an end to the foreign pillaging of American productivity. Johnson calls it pro-growth. I call it economic liberation. Now, one of Trump's top economic minds, Michael Falklander, is overseeing the full reboot of the Trump economic engine, and he's drawing battle lines in a new war, the AI war. Watch.
Because if you look at the combination of the president's economic agenda, so it's rebalancing the international situation that we just discussed, it is providing certainty when it comes to the tax environment so that we can increase access to capital and allow the American people to keep more of the wages that they earn. But another big piece is the deregulatory component. So as we tell businesses, as we take some of the strangles that the Biden administration put on businesses and give them the opportunity to do what they need to do, we believe we can get back to the kinds of growth rates that we saw during the first Trump administration. Because, Jackie, what did we have during those 3 years prior to the pandemic hitting? We had energy independence for the first time in 70 years. We had record low unemployment rates. We had low inflation, and we got ourselves to 3% growth for 2 out of those 3 years. We believe that by, again, bringing back all of the incentives for manufacturing to take place here, by unshackling American business, by having an energy dominance position, by improving access to capital, and very much reducing the compliance burden that's on businesses, that we are going to be able to see the American people, American businesses, take advantage of that environment. And Jackie, let me add another piece to that, which is the artificial intelligence boom is here. We have to win the AI war. We cannot see AI be located in other countries because that is key to us realizing productivity improvements. It's that productivity growth that drives economic growth, and that means that we need to have enough secure energy and secure technology production here in the United States so that we can indeed win that AI battle.
Now, we're no longer talking about whether jobs are coming back. They are. The fight now is over where the future is built, and Trump is making sure that it's here in America, not in the Chinese Communist Party AI factories. Under this administration, energy is flowing, regulation is collapsing, and manufacturing is being welded back together with artificial intelligence at its core. And behind it all is legislation already being hailed as the economic document of the century, what Trump calls the big, beautiful bill. Watch.
The one big, beautiful bill, and it is a big, beautiful bill. And so I think the Senate is going to get there. I hope they're going to get there. I think they're going to have changes. Some will be minor and some will be, fairly significant. But we've been working with the House all the way up. They've been working together. And the Speaker has been working with the leader of the Senate. And, they've done a great job. John Thune and Mike Johnson have done a fantastic job. They've been working together all the way up. So hopefully that'll be fine.
It's not fluff. It's not branding. This bill is structural demolition. Entire sectors of wasteful government being stripped out. Barriers to business are being shredded. This is what happens when a builder, not a bureaucrat, writes the blueprint. Now, Brussels is fuming tonight after President Trump fired a warning shot straight to Europe, following a 50% tariff on EU imports, especially autos, unless they scrap their protectionist barriers and start buying American. Watch.
I'm not looking for a deal. I mean, we've set the deal. It's at 50%. But again, there is no tariff if they build their plant here. Now, if somebody comes in and wants to build a plant here, I can talk to them about a little bit of a delay. But, while they're building their plant, which is something I think that would be appropriate, maybe, we'll determine that.
Is there anything the EU can do?
I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But right now it's going on June 1st. And that's the way it is. No, they haven't treated us properly. They haven't treated our country properly. They banded together to take advantage of us. And the people behind me know because they had some of that with their industry. But generally, we signed a great deal with United Kingdom. We have numerous other deals that are ready to be signed. We've signed a deal with China. We have some really amazing deals, but the European Union, the sole purpose was really not to hurt us, but to take advantage of us, and we're not going to be taking advantage.
50%. That's the number. If you're a foreign automaker and you want to sell in America, you better build in America. That's how Trump just forced a half a dozen foreign corporations to break ground on U.S. soil in less than 60 days. You want access to our markets? Pay the toll or get out. Meanwhile, the Congressional Budget Office is still clinging to their broken spreadsheets, pretending none of it's possible. That growth doesn't happen. The tax cuts don't work. But Trump has a message for them. Watch.
Some of the estimates, for example, by the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, are wildly inaccurate. They're assuming an historically low growth rate in the economy. The elements of the big, beautiful bill, the reason we're so excited is because it will be jet fuel to the U.S. economy. This is going to foster a pro-growth economy again, to get job creators and entrepreneurs and risk takers moving again, expanding their businesses, adding more jobs. Wages will go up. We'll have more manufacturing in the U.S. because of all the policies that we put into this legislation. It's a long time coming. And remember, not theoretical. We did this before. In the first Trump administration, we brought in the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S. After just those first 2 years. Because we cut taxes and cut regulations, we're doing it again and on steroids this time.
So we've already lived under this. Under Trump's first term, the economy roared. Now, with full executive power and zero campaign constraints, he's doing it again with no brakes. Tax cuts, capital unlocked, manufacturing surging, growth unleashed. And this time, the globalists aren't just watching, they are losing. So, of course, they fall back on the same tired smear. Trump is cutting Medicaid. No, Trump is cutting fraud. Watch.
We are not cutting Medicaid in this package. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this, Jake. The numbers of Americans who are affected are those that are entwined in our work to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. And what do I mean by that? You got more than 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid. Medicaid is not intended for non-U.S. citizens. It's intended for the most vulnerable populations of Americans, which is pregnant women and young single mothers, the disabled, the elderly. They are protected in what we're doing because we're preserving the resources for those who need it most. You're talking about 4.8 million able-bodied workers, young men, for example, who are on Medicaid and not working. They are choosing not to work when they can. That is called fraud. They are cheating the system. When you root out those kinds of abuses, you save the resources that are so desperately needed by the people who deserve it and need it most. That's what we're doing.
Now, let's be clear. Trump's not going after the elderly or disabled. He's going after the parasites, non-citizens, and able-bodied freeloaders siphoning off money that should go to veterans, mothers, and seniors. This is moral clarity in fiscal policy, something Washington hasn't seen in generations. This is the new order. the post-globalist America, an America where the economy serves you, not Davos, where our factories hum, where our energy is ours, where the border is secure and the budget is clean and the future is made here, not imported from China. So prepare yourself. This isn't just policy, it's payback, and it's only the beginning. Now, get your finances out of enemy hands and stay locked in. I'm Gary Franchi. You're watching the Next News Network, and under President Trump, the globalists aren't just losing control, they're watching their empire collapse. And the question for you, should Trump raise tariffs to 75% on countries that manipulate their currency against the dollar? Vote yes or no in the comments below. And remember to rock your patriot pride by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, linked below. All right, moving right along. What have we got here? The answer to topic 3. Where is it? Trivia time. Which president signed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930? Well, it was Herbert Hoover who signed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, raising import duties to protect American businesses. That's right. We have the answer slide up there. There it is. There's the answer. Okay. We've got, let's see how you guys did in the poll. Oh, wow. Herbert Hoover. You guys are smart. 49%. Again, you guys are on point. Herbert Hoover, now 50%, 49%. And then we had coming in second place, Franklin D. Roosevelt. And then we had Calvin Coolidge at 18% and Warren G. Harding at 9%. Okay, so let's go into our next trivia question. Which president's health issues were hidden from the public while he secretly governed from a wheelchair? Was it A, Joe Biden, B, Franklin D. Roosevelt, C, John F. Kennedy, or D, Dwight D. Eisenhower? Remember, you can answer in the poll that is in the chat room, or you can simply drop your answer in the comments below or in the chat room. I want to see how many people are going to say Joe Biden, right? But speaking of Joe Biden, we need to talk about his health. For the past month here on the Raw Feed, we've peeled back layers of institutional makeup to reveal a presidency held together with Post-it notes and power naps. The establishment told you that Joe Biden was spry and sharp and fit as a fiddle. Meanwhile, staffers studied staircases like geometry proofs, praying the commander-in-chief wouldn't misfire on camera. Well, tonight, we've got the receipts, 8 of them, all under the bright lights, each one ripped from their own broadcast, showing how corporate media morphed into a homeland security checkpoint for inconvenient facts. So strap in, grab an auto pen, and maybe pour a stiff coffee, because the truth tonight hits harder than Alex Jones' megaphone fused with Tucker Carlson's side-eye. Let's get into it, because just as Biden's handlers hid his medical truth, Big Pharma hides natural solutions for blood pressure. Nearly half of Americans suffer from hypertension, the silent killer behind strokes and heart attacks. That's why I use this, GlycoBoost. It's formulated with white mulberry leaf and cinnamon bark powder to naturally support healthy blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar. No prescriptions, no side effects, just clinically backed ingredients working with your body. This triple action formula helps thousands reclaim their health naturally. Visit boostwithgary.com for up to 40% off and free shipping and a 60-day guarantee. So head over to boostwithgary.com, because the truth about your health, it matters. Now, he's on a rain-slick ramp at West Point. Dress shoes, no handrail, gravity doing its worst. President Trump takes measured baby steps, and within minutes, cable anchors summon neurologists, orthopedic surgeons, maybe a tarot card reader to declare the Republican moral peril. They replay it like the Zapruder film and warn of unprecedented frailty. Meanwhile, when Joe Biden's legs go spaghetti and his Secret Service detail becomes a living walker, those same networks smile and clap and call it folksy. The hypocrisy is so thick, You could spread it on toast and feed it to an army. Watch.
President Trump was at West Point today. I covered his appearance at West Point, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago when he was, in his Trump 43 term. As he left the stage, there was a little bobble or a trip or something, and that made headlines all over the world. News media were proclaiming that he was stumbling and out of shape and all kinds of things. But that kind of thing seldom, if ever, happened during the 4 years of the Biden administration.
I'm so glad you brought that instance up. It was raining. He's wearing dress shoes. He's going down a ramp, and he was taking cautious steps down a ramp because the thing was slick. And the media had a field day with it. They had on orthopedic surgeons and all type of mental experts to try and say, without talking to Donald Trump, of course, without examining him, they're saying he's suffering from all these physical ailments and these mental instability things. This is what they did to Donald Trump. But when Joe Biden was clearly in a steep physical and mental decline, they do what they always do for Democrats. They covered it up, they carried his water, and they tried to pretend as though there was nothing to see here. And there is nothing more offensive as a voter when you're experiencing something, a bad economy, an open border, whatever it may be, for the press to come in and say, oh, no, you're not experiencing that. Let me tell you what's real out there. Same thing applies here. We all saw this, and they tried to tell us it wasn't happening. It's a complete failure by the mainstream media, and I hope Republicans in Congress take a very hard look at this and ask those tough questions, because the American people deserve to know who's been running the country for the last 4 years, because it clearly wasn't Joe Biden.
So we just watched corporate media turn a slippery plank into an existential crisis while Biden's obvious physical unraveling was shoved down the memory hole. That's not reporting, it's reputation laundering for the regime. Now comes New York Magazine, peddling a fresh little lullaby. Relax, they say. By 2028, voters will have forgotten the cover-up. As if grocery bills haven't doubled, as if $6 gasoline never happened, as if cartel drones aren't buzzing over your kid's soccer game. The media elite truly believe you're a goldfish in a bowl ready to forget the hand that taps the glass. Watch.
So as Democrats begin to acknowledge the impact of the Biden health scandal, a new headline from New York Magazine suggests that 2028 voters won't care about the Biden cover-up. The piece goes on to claim that the blowback will blow over by then unless Democrats fail to give voters other things to think about. Let's bring in Mahek Cook, attorney and CEO of American Frontier Strategies. Mahek, thanks for coming on with us. So what do you think? Does the magazine have it right? Voters won't care about Biden's mental condition when 2028 rolls around?
Well, John, thank you so much for having me. This is such an important question, and Democrats continue to get it wrong. And the same mainstream media that continue to propagate lies about Joe Biden, instead of media actually being reporters, they were repeaters of the Biden lie. Now, the same mainstream media is peddling more lies. The American people have overwhelmingly rejected not only Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, but the entire Democrat Party. CNN just came out with a poll saying only 29% of Americans actually trust the Democrat Party. And most of those were Democrats pushing back against the radical agendas. So we're not listening to mainstream media anymore because they continue to repeat the lie that Joe Biden was fit. Mainstream media continued to tell us that our borders were secure. Same mainstream media is now continuing to tell us we're going to forget the last 4 years. Botched Afghanistan withdrawal. We're now seeing Hamas and the Houthis and terrorists invading Israel. We're going to continue to see blowback because we don't trust the media, and we definitely don't trust the Democrat Party.
We certainly don't. Did you catch that? They think America has amnesia on speed dial. Sorry. Jeff Bezos' newsletter in print. We remember every Afghanistan faceplant, every border surge, every inflation-soaked paycheck. You can't hypnotize people who just check their bank account. Even the polite weekend host at Fox finally blurted out the forbidden sentence. HIPAA is being weaponized. Picture it. Your airline pilot undergoes a yearly physical. Your plumber needs a license, but the fellow holding the nuclear codes? Sorry, privacy laws. That's not confidentiality. That's abdication wrapped in a legal fig leaf. Watch.
I think, off the top, we talk about Biden's health and this idea that there's going to be an investigation from it. I can understand there are HIPAA laws. There are reasons why you can't just ask the president to turn over their medical records, just like you couldn't ask President Trump to turn over his tax returns. But I think there's a vested interest. There's only one person that gets to be president. So some of these laws, I think, need to be looked at. I don't know if this is a constitutional amendment, act of Congress, but Kevin, what do you think about that?
I think you're nailing it. The truth is, I understand and respect the privacy of the individual, but I think it's in the vested interest of more than 300 million people in this country and billions of people around the globe, the health and well-being of the person who might have access to the nuclear football. I think we are owed that as the American people. And I think you have a responsibility to the Constitution. If you're not able to carry out your function and or people around you know you're not, either 25th Amendment or bow out.
So the panel admits it. The man who can greenlight global thermonuclear war gets more medical secrecy than a pharmacist's tech. If that doesn't rally you, please check your pulse. You might be the one who's unfit. Now enter Alex Thompson's book, Washington's equivalent to a deathbed confession. According to Thompson, staffers literally plotted motorcades around staircases and short flights to dodge fatigue. Imagine the most powerful office on earth reduced to route planning by hallway length. Watch.
Alex Thompson is one of the co-authors of the new book called Original Sin: President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. He had an exclusive interview this morning on Fox News Sunday. Listen to what he had to say about President Biden's staff and others helping to cover up his condition.
They weren't telling the truth. Throughout 2023 and 2024, there were steps taken to increasingly shield Joe Biden, not just from the public, but from members of his own cabinet, members of his own senior staff. And one White House official who left in 2024 told us that they left in part because they were not comfortable with how they were trying to shield the extent of the decline.
But again, Mahek, we, those of us in the media and the folks at home didn't hear about all this. So somebody was upset enough that they quit the Biden administration. Nobody else seemed to know.
Look, John, you're right. I mean, this is a diabolical lie to sit here now and make millions of dollars off of a book. Where was Jake Tapper and Alex? Where were they when we wanted to hear the truth from them? This book should have been published for free, and the truth should have come out. Instead, they're hiding. And the truth about mainstream media is that they wanted Joe Biden to win at any cost, which is why they continue to double down on lies. They continue to mislead the American people. And I've even looked at polls currently. YouGov has a poll out. 30% of Americans actually trust mainstream media. They have propagated so much misinformation and lies that we're turning to news outlets like Fox because they told the truth, and so many other podcasts online. There's Megyn Kelly and so many other individuals that actually are telling the American people what we want to hear because we're seeing it for our very eyes. Democrats have lost touch, and now Jake Tapper and these media outlets are trying to come back and say it was an honest mistake. Have some humility.
Yeah, they're watching the next news network, okay? They said Thompson bravely breaks the silence 2 years late. After Kabul carnage, after Gazan rockets, after grocery aisle sticker shock. Translation? The country got chaos, and he got the royalties. Better late than never, maybe, but the damage is paid in compound interest by you. Now watch, an award-winning correspondent clutch pearls on live TV. We just missed it! Missed it? You were inches away, front row, inhaling the teleprompter glow. The only thing you missed was the courage to ask a real question. Watch.
We got to start with the elephant in the room, the media coverage of this. You recently won an award from the White House Correspondents Association for, quote, aggressive reporting on Biden and for providing, quote, important insight into the inner workings of the Biden White House. In accepting the award, you acknowledged we missed some of this. There's more that could have been done. But everyday Americans who are watching the kinds of things like we have on the screen now, they'll say, we weren't in Washington. We're not at the White House. We're not covering this every day. We could see this decline in real time. Why couldn't most of the Washington press corps?
Well, I would say first, there's a big difference between what you're seeing on the screen there and then what was going on behind the scenes by the inner circle of the Biden White House to try to shield that part of Joe Biden. But for people that in the country that are frustrated with the media coverage, I don't blame them because they were saying there's probably more here. And we should have not, it's because the media definitely talked about his age and did show those clips. But I do think we didn't probe enough into what was actually going on behind the scenes. And that's what we really try to do in this book.
Well, fair to say, though, that those who did publicly question what we were seeing and try to push for more answers, they were often belittled or kind of, condescended to about why they would even ask those questions.
I mean, I covered this aggressively back since 2021 and especially through 2023 and 2024. And the book says that, at times I was even frustrated that and I felt a little bit on the outs with, some of my colleagues, not all. I think there are a lot of people that were really trying to cover this story, and people in the White House were lying and not telling the truth and obscuring it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. That's why I made the comments at the speech. I think, this is a good moment for just like reflecting on why exactly we missed some of the details that we finally got in this book.
Mm-hmm.
That repentance tour arrives long after the check cleared. They don't do journalism. They did customer service for the Democrat National Committee, and they wonder why the public trust now looks like a ski slope. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, congressional investigators smell blood in the water, letters fly, Biden's personal physician, staff schedulers, motorcade wranglers. They all have 7 days to cough up records or grab a lawyer. Watch.
New details on President Biden's mental decline and how it directly led to the decline of our country. 4 years of failed immigration policy, even national security decisions affected. Don't take it from me. That's coming from Democrats. We'll show you the evidence in a moment, which comes as subpoenas are set to fly as soon as a week from today.
When do you expect these subpoenas to go out? Well, the letters have already gone out to the staffers as well as Dr. O'Connor. So if we don't hear anything from them in a week, then I would expect to start seeing subpoenas.
Tick-tock, the clock is ticking, but will subpoenas be enough? Maybe it's time for a special counsel to take the lead. Federal regulations call for a special counsel if, 1, there are extraordinary circumstances, and 2, when it's in the public interest. Well, here are 2 of many reasons why the evidence of a deteriorating commander-in-chief calls for just that. Number 1, campaign aides around Biden knew about his decline before he became president. Listen to this. As far back as 2019, they knew. And yet they told us he was fit to be the leader of the free world. Listen to this. During an 8-day grueling bus tour in Iowa in December 2019, Biden gave his aides pause. While doing prep, he struggled to remember the name of longtime aide Mike Donnellan. You know, he said, groping for it. His aides side-eyed one another. Donnellan had worked with Biden since 1981. Okay, that's 7 years before I was born. He couldn't remember his name. And 1 year later, so in 2020, Biden talked to voters on Zoom, and it was a total disaster. Listen to what Alex Thompson's book says. Biden would sit in a room with several monitors beaming the face of real Americans in front of him. The videos came back, hours of footage. Some on the team couldn't believe their eyes. The videos were horrible, one top Democrat said. He could not follow the conversation at all. I could not believe it, said a second Democrat. It was like a different person. It was like watching grandpa who should not be driving. That is from before he became president.
Unbelievable. TikTok, right? Federal regulators say extraordinary circumstances trigger a special counsel. A commander who sometimes couldn't follow a Zoom briefing is extraordinary. Stonewall, and you'll be answering questions under fluorescent lights with a stenographer tapping every word. Now, flashback to Kayleigh McEnany's press room firefight. Reporters demanded microscopic detail on Trump's Walter Reed checkup, phone call, autopsy-level detail. Fast forward to Biden's mystery weekend at the same hospital, and those same reporters suddenly celebrate patient privacy. Watch.
So what was the press The all-encompassing, all-asking, all-inquiring press. What were they doing in 2020? I remember.
On Walter Reed, the president in November said he went to Walter Reed to begin his physical. He said he was there this week. He said he was there to complete his physical. In fact, your predecessor said the same back then, that it was to begin it. So which one was it when the president went to Walter Reed?
The president did his physical in 2 parts. These are very extensive when you're doing a presidential physical, and he used the 2 visits to Walter Reed to complete the physical in 2 stops. Again, the media is engaging in conspiracy theories about the president's health.
President, no, just to be clear, Kayla, you said he did it in 2 stops,
Yes.
but he said he completed it. This week he said he was there to complete it. You're saying that's not true. So his statement this
Yes,
week,
next question. I'm not engaging in
Kayla.
conspiracy theories anymore.
It's not
Yes.
conspiracy theory. I'm just asking if he was correct.
Go ahead.
Well, isn't that rich? The press was focused on concocting conspiracy theories about President Trump's health, asking me about it, instead of probing the conspiracy happening in plain sight, the one with President Biden, where a cadre of Democrats told us that President Biden was fit to be commander-in-chief. The press committed journalistic malpractice, plain and simple. They bought the narrative being spun by a small group of high-level aides engaged in the cover-up. And remember, quote, 5 people were running the country. Joe Biden was at best a senior member of the board. Which leads me to the second reason for a special counsel. Did Biden's mental health decline have a tangible effect on policy? Did his mental acuity affect your life? The limited information we have so far suggests yes. At an immigration event in June of 2022, President Biden, quote, had some sort of glitch. He appeared to forget the name of DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, according to that book I mentioned. And for 3 seconds, he was mumbling incoherently, alarmingly. Now listen to this Democratic Senator, Michael Bennet, who was sitting in the front row of the event. He, quote, considered what Biden's age likely meant when it came to the issue of immigration, and had come to believe that Biden's inability to mediate between the people and his administration had led to an incoherent overall position on the issue. We're in trouble, the Democratic senator remarked upon returning to his office. And we were in trouble. 11 million people got into the country. In fact, according to a senior Biden administration official, there was a day one plan to crack down on the southern border. Wouldn't that have been nice? But the plan just disappeared. And instead, illegal immigrants were released into the interior.
Now we know how that went, right? Now, the sanctimony back then could power the Eastern grid. Today, it's so quiet you can hear Chuck Todd blinking. A 2-tiered media system isn't just annoying. It's democracy on rigged dice. And then the hallway showdown. Senator Mazie Hirono confronted about when she first noticed Biden's decline. It's the simplest yes or no you'll ever hear. Watch.
Senator Hirono, how are you? Hey, we've got to get Johnny from Fox News. How are you? I'll walk with you. Senator, when did you realize that Joe Biden was cognitively on a decline?
I am more concerned about this current president who doesn't think that the rule of law or conflict of interest.
Well, you weren't concerned about Joe Biden at all?
That is how I respond to your question. That's it.
Do you think there's a cover-up with Biden's doctor, Kevin O'Connor?
No, I don't. I was often asked, who's really the president of the United States? And I would always tell them the truth. Whoever has control of that teleprompter. And you might amend it by saying whoever had control of the auto pen.
Yeah, whoever had control of the auto pen. But did you hear her response? A panic pivot to Donald Trump, like Beetlejuice incantations warding off accountability. If you can't answer a simple yes or no about presidential fitness, you've already answered the question. So, there you have it. 8 explosive pieces of evidence. 1 verdict. A cartel of handlers, journos, and political lifers staged a medical theater to seize power by silence. They mortgaged your border, your paychecks, and your credibility for a facade. But the facade is fracturing, subpoenas looming, publishers confessing, and America is wide awake. So share this report. Demand mandatory on-the-record medical disclosures for anyone seeking the nuclear codes. And stay locked on Next News Network because we're going to pry the next brick loose. I'm Gary Franchi, fueled by truth and fortified by your support. the wall of deceit is wobbling. One more swing and it crashes down. So here's the question for you. Should presidential candidates face mandatory public cognitive tests with results released before elections? Comment with your thoughts. And support real journalism by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, so let's find the answer to our trivia question. And which president's health issues were hidden from the public while he secretly governed from a wheelchair? I mean, if you said Joe Biden, you wouldn't have been wrong, but the answer is Franklin D. Roosevelt. His paralysis from polio was hidden from the public throughout his presidency. And now we have our next question of the evening. Which investigative journalist exposed the Pentagon Papers in 1971? Was it A. Ron Burgundy, B. Carl Bernstein, C. Daniel Ellsberg, or D. Howard Beale? You can answer by going into the poll that we're putting up right now in the chat room. But the last answer, you guys all, 72% Franklin Roosevelt. 15% said Joe Biden. And let's see, Dwight Eisenhower got 10% and JFK got 1%. And I do want to just bring up some super chats real quick here because Tracy Mullen wrote a nice super chat here. I wrote this super chat with an auto pen. And I need to bring up Irving's 4547. Thank you, Irving, for that. He says, I love the marker sound. And he posted that about an hour ago when we were doing the executive order segment. Thank you, Irving. And then Squeeze a Lot dropped $10. The Big Beautiful Bill was an amazing read, though tracking down some of the changes to other laws is still in progress. Go N3. Good evening, Gary and fellow patriot. And then another 10 from Squeeze a Lot. Other things to think about. My favorite video had President Trump hitting a golf ball and Biden falling up the steps of Air Force One, or during the debate when Biden looked horrified by the deaths. Yeah, those are some good memes. Remember those memes? Okay, let's move along to this very interesting development in the Epstein case. I never thought we'd see the inside of the Epstein temple, but now James O'Keefe has dropped the bombshell. James O'Keefe just released what nobody was supposed to see, a complete 360-degree tour inside Jeffrey Epstein's mysterious island temple. Celestial ceilings with astrological symbols, bizarre guardian statues at the entrance, architectural details that suggest purposes far beyond a billionaire's vacation spot. While O'Keefe battles to reclaim Project Veritas from internal saboteurs, he's still dropping bombs that make the establishment sweat. It's not gossip. It's evidence of an elite network's darkest gathering place, finally exposed to the sunlight. What rituals happened under those astrological figures? And why did the world's most powerful people visit this remote temple? O'Keefe has got the footage that they killed to suppress, so keep watching to see right inside their nightmare. And just as O'Keefe exposes hidden truths, here's one about testosterone. The real killer isn't age. It's a healthy food you eat weekly. This common food, praised by nutritionists, secretly tanks testosterone, destroys motivation, and drains energy. It's not junk food or sugar. It's something unexpected. Sculpt Nation's Test Boost Max uses 8 natural ingredients to restore healthy testosterone without injections or prescriptions. And thousands of men rebuilt muscle, torched fat, and reclaimed their drive naturally. Watch the free video revealing this testosterone-killing food and the solution by visiting sculptnation.com/NNN to learn the truth. That's sculptnation.com/NNN. It's linked down below, because real strength comes from natural sources. Okay, so James O'Keefe caught some heat maybe about a week ago, when he put this video up behind a paywall. And everyone's like, oh man, James, how could you do that? Why would you do that? Well, I mean, it's very simple. He has an operation that he needs to fund. I do not fault him for it. But now he's done what we all wanted him to do. He's released the video, an extensive investigation. James O'Keefe never holds back. We're going to get into the video that he's just published. We've also got some clips of him discussing this, the Project Veritas resurgence. He's apparently in talks, maybe taking it back. We're going to find out the details, get into all that. But I know you guys really want to find out. I want to find out. I haven't seen this yet, so you and I are going to watch this for the first time together about what happened inside that temple in James O'Keefe's investigation with the O'KeefeMediaGroup.com.
Obtained shows. Over the last week, we've shown you newly obtained video from inside the buildings on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands shortly after his arrest. We took you inside Jeffrey Epstein's kitchen, inside his personal library, even inside the master bedroom where we could see those phones on the bedside tables with speed dials and names. Now, we take you inside the infamous and mysterious temple. New footage received by O'Keefe Media Group gives a detailed look at the interior. No one has ever seen this before. Here we go. You are looking inside this mysterious building, and the walls are covered with what appears to be a marble textured finish and a wooden bookshelf with one solid column on the left and one spiraling shape stretching to the ceiling on the right. And if you look up at the top of this mysterious temple, you'll see what appears to be a detailed celestial painting filled with astrological figures. But before we dive too deep into that, let's just take a step back. Back in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein's arrest for sex trafficking set the internet on fire, and one image became iconic. This mysterious building on his private island, Little St. James, located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The gold dome represented those on the religious structures around the world, like the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. We found that Epstein's temple most closely resembles this building in Aleppo, Syria, a bathhouse constructed in the year 1384 by a Muslim dynasty. There are obvious similarities, such as the gold dome roof and the stripes, but also notice the identical stripe pattern around the tops of the arches. There is no record of Epstein ever traveling to Syria. His family descended from European Jews who immigrated to America. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. Now, in one room of Epstein's island compound, we saw a framed photo of his elementary school. This is the actual photograph of the image inside the frame. This would turn out to be Coney Island's Public School 188, named after Michael E. Birdie. Building permits filed in 2010 for Epstein's island compound didn't include the temple. They instead proposed that an octagonal music pavilion with a grand piano be built on the site. But around 2012, the temple was constructed instead. Now, until now, no one has ever published video taken from inside this structure. In 2019, the closest thing to it was Business Insider, releasing the account of a local piano tuner, Patrick Barron, who alleged that he visited the temple to service a piano it contained. However, the video we obtained shows an interior that differs from Barron's description. Through this never-before-seen footage, we show you what it was like to visit inside Epstein's temple. You travel up a gravelly road that hugs the tropical hillside, past what appears to be a helicopter landing site, which is situated in a discreet green field where Epstein and his elite guests would arrive by air. You crest the ridgeline and spot a giant sundial. Seen here in drone footage from a YouTube account named Rusty Shackelford, this large and mysterious sundial-borne image resembling the sun. But it also resembles a figure known as the Masonic Man, who first appeared in a 1754 pamphlet commenting on Freemasonry. You ascend further, and the infamous building emerges on a small hilltop up the gravel road. This footage was captured after Epstein's arrest in 2019. Now, some will say, well, this is old footage, but everything related to Epstein is 5 years old. He died 5 years ago, and all of the tens of thousands of videos are also 5 years old. It's still very important for us to ascertain what actually happened. Now, notice that the signature gold dome is missing on top of this building. It was reportedly blown off during Hurricane Maria 2 years earlier. That was the Category 5 hurricane that barreled through the Virgin Islands, causing mass destruction. On the ground, there were 2 more statues that resemble centaurs, one holding a trident. We believe that those statues are what you actually see here. At the time of this video's capture, they appear to have been moved from the temple to a sheltered area for storage. The statues depict sea creatures from Greek mythology called ichthyocentaurs. They had a human upper body, the 4 legs of a horse, and a fish-like tail. Their names were Aphros, meaning sea foam, and Bythos, meaning the depths of the sea. They were often depicted in art as the beings that lifted Aphrodite, Greek goddess of beauty, from the ocean at the time of her birth. Now, approaching the temple, you can observe that the 3-dimensional qualities, the architectural features, have simply been painted on to a flat 2-dimensional surface, not unlike the sets for a stage play. Now we are on the inside of the temple. You're looking at a photograph taken inside the temple. There is no piano, no supervillain chair, no sacrificial altar, no child sacrifice. Appears to be no elevator going into the ground, as some have conjectured. Just another renovation project. Looks like it was never completed. Now, looking up at the ceiling, here's a high-quality photograph where you can see one more piece of art. A large canvas that depicts the zodiac constellations. It bears a striking resemblance to a year 1570 fresco on the ceiling of an Italian palace. Very similar images there. Now, many people have commented about this mysterious building and what could happen inside of it. The responses to our recent reports have actually been quite mixed. On the one hand, they've stimulated a groundswell of tips and information coming our way, including that mysterious chalkboard that we saw. We've actually received dozens of legitimate interpretations, and we'll be producing a report featuring you, our audience and subscribers, who came up with some incredible hypotheses and theories about what that all means. On the other hand, it seems as if no new mystery or incremental revelation will ever be enough for those now invested in learning how all this crazy story ends. A lot of people saying we need arrests. Now, I don't have the power to arrest anybody, but we do have the power to bring forward information. The conspiracy theories about this temple and the rest of the island will spin on forever. We don't need to spend time here enumerating all of them, but we'll leave you with this. The alternating light and dark stripes on the exterior of Epstein's building resemble an Islamic architectural style known as oblak. It can be seen in holy sites all over the world. The alternating light and dark stripes represent the spiritual concept of duality, light versus dark. Some might say good versus evil. Jeffrey Epstein built himself a temple. According to some reports, he played music here on a small black grand piano beneath the stars. Despite his alleged vast wealth, the temple seems like a cheap illusion, a set in a stage play that still needs an ending. Maybe you can help us find that ending. As we announced earlier, we posted all of the newly obtained video and photos of Epstein's island structures to our website, exclusive to our subscribers at O'KeefeMediaGroup.com, where you can subscribe and access everything you see here and more, and help us unveil this mystery and join our citizen journalism army. We read every tip, every message that comes in, we dissect and analyze to help us get to the truth. Send tips into our signal. Here is the number 914-491-9395 or to tips@O'KeefeMediaGroup.com, and stay tuned.
Wow. I always want to see what was inside there. I remember when Luke Rudkowski went to the island. You can look it up on YouTube. The video's still there. It's on his We Are Change YouTube channel. I mean, he literally took a boat there and then like snuck around the island. It's amazing video, and like they were getting chased. I mean, it was like a Bond movie. They had to run and jump on a boat to get away. I mean, it was crazy. So what's equally as crazy is what happened to James O'Keefe with his own Project Veritas. Big supporter of Project Veritas when it was under James O'Keefe's command. Interviewing countless whistleblowers right here on this channel, and been helped by so much of their work. I know the work that they have put out for CNN, the hidden cameras inside CNN, the documents that have come out of Google. I mean, work that is absolutely essential for the freedom of this country. And then it was stripped away from him. Now, this was about 5 days ago. He was on with Benny Johnson, announcing he's in talks to regain control of Project Veritas. So we're gonna play this clip here, and I'm just personally curious. You know, he's got his O'Keefe Media Group. What happens when he becomes head of Project Veritas again? We'll find out. Let's see.
What is the status? What is the status then with you're having a conversation about Project Veritas and about retaking over that organization, which of course was absolutely legendary. You built it from the ground up. You had an unbelievable team. We toured Project Veritas headquarters, for instance, multiple times. It was so very impressive, legendary what you built there, James. I guess what is the status of these negotiations? I mean, how is this process taking place? Is this a hostile takeover of Project Veritas? Is this going to be a sale of something? All
I can say is I'm in talks to regain control. That's all I'm right now going to say. That's all I'm allowed to say. Okay. There's more to say very soon, but that's all I can tell you right here, right now. And the reason, and partially the reason why, is because I want people to focus on the contents of the video that I've just launched, which is unbelievable. And no one's seen it yet, but you have to watch this video, and there'll be more news soon. But I know you got a lot of pushback, Benny, on what you said, but that was foreshadowing that this logo behind me for what we're announcing right now. We spent 2 months preparing this for launch, and here we go.
What?
Yeah, and a lot of people did notice that. He's standing in the wall behind him. You can see it says Project Veritas, and everyone's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So there's a lot of questions still coming up. James O'Keefe also recently went on with Timcast, and I guess he was asked if Kamala Harris was president, what's the over-under that James O'Keefe would have been put in jail by now? Oh,
don't want fake. What do you think the probability if Kamala Harris was the president of the United States that someone like me would have been indicted by now?
2 seconds. Two seconds.
What's the over-under? Now the devil advocate to that is it takes time to build a case. We don't want fake raids. We don't want, but it does raise questions. No one's held accountable for anything. I'm held accountable. I've been arrested, raided, sued, audited. I'm held accountable, and I'm a reporter. So why isn't anybody held accountable for anything?
Well, to be fair, I don't think they're holding you to account.
What's that?
They're not holding you accountable.
The powers that be.
They're not holding you accountable. They're attacking you.
Well, there's an overlap because when they raided me, they leaked all my messages to various.
The idea that you're being held accountable would imply that you did something wrong.
Well, it means that if that I've done nothing wrong because evidently they don't have anything on me. But I get your point.
Yeah.
But I mean, in America, we believe in this right to a speedy trial. That justice, there's a speed to justice. Going back to your original question when you started your show, I think when you believe justice is based upon what people believe versus reality, what is true, that's when you risk losing your mind. When there's no justice, when there's no equality before the law, when the judge is breaking the law, that's when you start losing your mind. And I hope that we're wrong about that. I hope that there is justice. I think the people of this country have no faith in the system. And I've been accused of things I haven't done, Tim. It's like hell on earth when you're falsely accused of a felony. Ugh. I mean, with January 6th, people were falsely accused. At least there was a colorable crime. In my case with the diary, it was like, are you kidding me? What do you think the probability if...
And then we have this talking about the journalism of James O'Keefe. Showed his commitment to truth over partisanship by releasing the Pam Bondi video despite facing backlash.
Out New York. Let's take a look at the initial Epstein stuff, right? If we're to believe everything they've said, Pam Bondi released this letter where she was like, I instructed the FBI to release the Epstein files, and they did not do it. And then because of whistleblower, I found out New York was withholding information on this. The question then is, why did we only find out about the videos they have because of an undercover video from James O'Keefe? Why wasn't she telling the public?
What did you think about that video, Tim? I took some heat for publishing that. I don't dislike or like her. It's not about what I think about the Attorney General, but you felt I should have published that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I think it's tremendously amazing journalism. I think it shows your integrity. You're not a partisan actor who's going to say, I give free tickets for the right or for the Trump administration.
Right.
You said, we want the truth on Epstein, and we're going to investigate it regardless of who's in charge.
So we did her a little bit of a favor, I suppose, by sending the quote. Journalistically, I actually sent the full quote of what she said in that restaurant to that nanny. So is that a public place? It's kind of quasi-public place. She's telling this to a stranger.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Why?
A stranger 9 days before she said it publicly. So
Yeah.
why? So
and it was like the exact same thing.
it was like word for word.
She clearly came out and said it publicly because they knew they had to get ahead of you.
If she didn't come out and say that publicly, she may have been forced to resign, because that's a crazy thing.
Well, so when I don't see anything wrong with you sending them the quote saying, here's what we have.
You think I should have sent them the quote verbatim?
I think it's fine. Let's take a look at the initial Epstein stuff.
That was solid gold when he did that, for sure. If the system of justice depends on us asking favors, I don't think the system works. James O'Keefe has not been given any information why the FBI raided his newsroom, even after it's been established he didn't commit a crime.
With criminal procedure.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
This is the Trump. This is the Trump DOJ.
That's correct.
So Cash and Dan,
can your audience see this?
Yeah.
Okay. You are looking at, for those of you who aren't familiar with criminal procedure or didn't go to law school, when the FBI executes a search warrant, they have to go to a judge, a federal judge, and they have to get it signed off. They have to present the reasons. Why do we want to raid your home with a battering ram and all that? In my case, they dropped the case. There was no crime. There was no charges. So the courts require them release the affidavit. That is the probable cause justifying the search of James O'Keefe's house. You are looking at the Trump Justice Department's release. Look at this. Look at this. This is the probable cause. Wait. They didn't redact something on the bottom. Go back to page 45.
Based on my training and experience, I have learned, among other things, that cell phones are capable of sending and receiving emails like the aforementioned emails.
Are you effing kidding me?
Wow.
Wait, hold on, James. Is that true that phones can receive emails?
I guess phones can receive emails, Tim.
Wow.
So they even redacted the little footnotes in the sentences.
Look at you can see.
They redacted the numbers. Now this is not child porn or Epstein. This is not Afghanistan drug traffickers. This is a newsroom being raided by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the United States of America can't release one word of the reason why they did it after admitting there was no crime.
Yeah, that's
and you
correct.
expect me to have faith in this Department of Justice?
So this is the DOJ under Donald Trump, and this is what they put out.
Correct.
So Dan, Cash, or Pam could unredact it and send it to
The
you.
Attorney General of the United States has the authority to unredact this.
So what is in it?
Call Pam. Call Cash. It's like an infomercial. These people get asked 10,000 favors a day. I'm not going to ask. If the system of justice depends upon us asking favors, I don't think the system works.
Hold on a minute.
Ain't that the truth? So O'Keefe's Epstein temple footage, it represents more than architectural curiosity. It's archaeological evidence of elite occultism. Those astrological ceilings and guardian statues, they weren't random decorations. They're symbols in a language that the powerful speak when they think nobody's watching. While battling for Project Veritas control, O'Keefe proves real journalism means releasing truth regardless of the consequences. And this matters because Epstein's network didn't die with him. The same people who visited that temple still run the banks and media empires and governments. Every symbol, every statue, every architectural choice tells a story they desperately want buried. O'Keefe's risking everything to ensure these images reach your eyes before they're scrubbed from existence. So here's my question. What do you think those astrological symbols in Epstein's temple really mean? Scientific interest or occult rituals? Share your theory. Make sure, if you want to support our work here at the Next News Network, get your truth gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. Let's see what the answer to our question was. And which investigative journalist exposed the Pentagon Papers in 1971? It was Daniel Ellsberg who leaked the Pentagon Papers to newspapers, exposing government lies about Vietnam. All right, let's check in with the main chat and see what you guys are talking about. And we'll also check in with the latest on the news feed. Oh, we got something here that just pops up right away. Look at that. It's our boy. It's our boy. Where is he? Let's see if we can get that up on the big chat screen. There it is. Ha-ha! It's our boy Elijah, working for the Gateway Pundit. Love to see it. Trump blasting the Russia-Ukraine strikes, burns fake news reporter in epic rant. Elijah Schaefer's top stories of the last 24 hours. Let's check in, shall we?
Yeah, so our top story today from thegatewaypundit.com, President Trump speaks to reporters about Russia and Ukraine. Says, quote, he is very surprised by Russian military strikes and hilariously flames fake news reporter. You're totally fake. We're talking about this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundits Weekend Review.
All right. Well done, sir. Well done. John Solomon, 2 hours ago, posting Dan Bongino announces reviews of 3 unsolved mysteries. The White House cocaine scandal, the SCOTUS leak on Roe, and the January 6th pipe bombs. Oh, finally. I mean, but do we really need to? I mean, come on. Whose cocaine was it? The SCOTUS leak. Yeah, remember that? Oh, finally. And the January 6th pipe bomb's good. I can't wait to find out what Dan Bongino reveals. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see. Turning Point is going to have speakers, 5,000 attendees, leading the charge into a bold new era for America at SAS 2025. Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump Jr., Dr. Ben Carson, Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec, Brandon Tatum, James O'Keefe, Leigh Allen Baker, Alexis Wilkins, and Jeff Zouch in Tampa, Florida, July 11th through the 13th. SAS2025.com. Eric Doherty posting this 2 hours ago. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent declares Doge efforts will continue no matter how hard the media attack it.
To actually hear, because it's like I told Elon, I said, you know, Elon, you're under fire because you've moved people's cheese. And he said, well, it's the American people's cheese, and it doesn't belong to these people. And again, that's why I wanted the American people to meet Sam. We're going to bring some more Doge people forward to actually hear their stories, see what's being done, because the entrenched interests, the consultants, the Democrats, mainstream media, they just want to blow this project out of the water. And it's important because I keep saying this is the opposite of government efficiency, not elimination, not extinction. Sam and his crew are making it more efficient to work for the American people. So what's wrong with it working better, cheaper, faster, and with more privacy?
Okay, looks like you guys are hot on the case here. Christine Marshall, that stuff in the White House literally said Hunter's blow on the bag. And BG says, who gives a AF about Hunter's baggie? Get into the real stuff, Bongino. Valen says, Comey is a life. Maybe liar? Maybe that's what you're trying to say? Sabrina agrees, yes, he is a villain. Let's see, what else are you guys talking about? Ed Narton said that they were looking at Mary McCord. Her husband worked for Chief Justice, resigned after the Dobbs leak. Oh. Interesting. Oh, and also, yes, we want to find out about Anthony Weiner's laptop. Ooh, that's scary material. They were looking at Mary McCord, resigned after the leak. Maybe that's what it was. Overeducated, what's up? Good to see you too. Beans and Frank, Zelensky tried to do something to Putin. I'm shocked Ukraine's still on the map. Did something else happen? Let's keep looking and see what else is going on in the feed right now. Let's see. Remembering George Floyd. It's still mind-boggling how the party who cannot answer what a woman is ran a woman twice as president. Blue-haired lib, very triggered by people celebrating the 4th of July.
And then there's going to be, I want to remind everybody, because we are coming out of May, and then there's going to be June, and then there's going to be July. I want to remind everybody that July 4th is fucking canceled. It's canceled. It means nothing. It's trash. It's garbage. It's something we vomited up, apparently. The 4th of July, if I hear a single fucking firework, if I see a fucking barbecue out there, motherfuckers, it is canceled.
Oh, wow, man. That's the left for you. Doctors banned from social media for spreading correct information. I remember that. Remember the 2 California doctors who were suspended from social media for medical misinformation? Well, it turns out they were right all along. It was the CDC, WHO, FDA, Fauci, and the media who were spreading medical misinformation. Yeah, I covered this story. I remember it very clearly. I covered the story. The video was memory hold during that moment in history. Unreal. What's Cat Turd saying? Oh boy, our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by immigrants. Jerry Nadler?
And we need immigrants in this country. Forget the fact that the farm, that our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants. The fact is that the birth rate in this country is way below replacement level, which means our population is going to start shrinking. And the ratio of people on Social Security and Medicare is going to increase relative to the number of people supporting them.
Sounds like he's stereotyping an entire group of people. Who would do such a thing? Oh, well, let's see. We got Villain gifted a membership to David. Thank you. And Squeeze a Lot dropping another $10. We're at $95.47. We only need just about $5. We're going to break $100 tonight. Squeeze a Lot, Department of Government Extinction. Is that for trying to find the remaining skeletons in the closet of the dinosaurs that still stalk the halls of our government? Let's keep going. Barack Obama, imagine if I had pulled Fox News credentials from the White House press corps. What? Did he just say this? Let's see here.
Grabian, the multimedia marketplace.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine
Grabian,
that
the multimedia marketplace.
Imagine if I had pulled Fox News' credentials from the White House press corps.
Grabian, the
You're
multimedia
laughing,
marketplace.
No, this is what's happening. Imagine if I'd said to law firms that were representing parties that were upset
Grabian,
with policies
the
my
multimedia
administration had
marketplace.
initiated, that you will not be allowed into government buildings.
Grabian,
We
the
will
multimedia
punish you
marketplace.
economically for dissenting from the Affordable Care Act or the Iran deal.
Grabian, the multimedia marketplace.
We will.
It's funny how he brings up two of the points that he was getting criticized about.
Ferret
because he knows he was wrong.
Out students who protest against my policies.
Grabian, the multimedia marketplace.
It's unimaginable that the same parties that are silent now would have tolerated
Grabian, the multimedia marketplace.
behavior like that from me or a whole bunch of my predecessors. So, and I say this,
Grabian,
I say this
the multimedia marketplace.
not on a partisan basis. This has to do with something more precious, which is
Grabian,
who are we
the multimedia
as a
marketplace.
country, and what values do we stand for?
Okay, thanks for that, Brock. I think he was referring to Trump removing the Associated Press from the pool. He didn't yank their press credentials, Brock. He simply said, you're not in the White House pool anymore. You're free to come to the White House. You're free to report on anything that goes on there, but you're not going in the pool. Very simple. So Barack is definitely exaggerating the situation. And Trump simply did that because they were misrepresenting the facts. Statutory authority, President Trump changed the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. And they refused to acknowledge that specific reality. And Trump said, bye-bye. So you see how Barack Obama is twisting that? For his gain, trying to compare it to him yanking the press credentials of Fox News. Again, Trump did not yank any press credentials at all. I mean, he did yank Jim Acosta's hard pass. I remember that. But he didn't yank CNN's hard pass. He didn't. CNN was still free to go to the White House and still free to report on all the things going on there. You see how they twist the truth? Let's see. We got BG dropping $4.99, putting us over the top. When is Mayorkas getting perp walked for Audi GN invasion through Texas? Stick his butt under federal prison. Villain prop money donation. Thank you. $5. And Resto Guy thanking the mods and the chat. We are now at $125.46 tonight. How beautiful. So, Patriots, what a night on the Raw feed. We've just exposed 5 stories that prove the empire of lies is crumbling faster than Biden on a bicycle. We showed you Trump's Memorial Day dominance from West Point's parade grounds to Morristown's tarmac, delivering the kind of wartime CEO leadership that makes our enemies tremble and our allies rejoice. No teleprompters, no handlers, just raw American strength projected across the globe. Then we revealed the atomic revolution that's reshaping America's future. Executive orders that don't just tweak energy policy, they detonate it. Micro reactors on military bases, AI-powered infrastructure, and a nuclear renaissance that ensures your grandchildren won't be begging China for battery power. This is energy independence with a mushroom cloud of freedom. We documented the spectacular crash of the globalist gravy train as Trump and Mike Johnson take a flamethrower to decades of parasitic policies. 50% tariffs forcing foreign corporations to build American. The largest spending cuts in 30 years targeting fraud, not grandma. This is not reform. It's economic liberation at light speed. Then we exposed the criminal conspiracy that hid Biden's obvious decline while attacking Trump for holding a handrail. 8 pieces of evidence proving the media morphed into a medical cover-up crew endangering national security for political power. And congressional subpoenas are flying, and the guilty parties are lawyering up faster than you can say cognitive decline. Then we unveiled O'Keefe's bombshell footage from inside Epstein's temple. those celestial ceilings and guardian statues that the elite never wanted exposed. While fighting to reclaim Project Veritas, O'Keefe still delivers the investigative goods that make powerful people lose sleep. So to everyone who sent in super chats tonight, you are the backbone of this broadcast. Your support and your energy and your refusal to accept mainstream lies, that's what powers this truth machine. Special shout out to our YouTube members and everyone who hit those donation links. You're not just viewers, you are the resistance. Remember, you can support the show privately by visiting Give, Send, Go, or PayPal, linked in the description. Every dollar helps us stay independent, stay fierce, and stay focused on exposing what they're hiding. And don't forget to check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wear your truth, pride everywhere you go. And tell a friend about tonight's show. Text them the link, post it on X, email your uncle who still watches CNN. The only way we defeat their algorithms is through human-to-human connection, patriot-to-patriot truth sharing. This is week 18 of Trump's return, and if tonight's proves anything, it's that the establishment's death grip on information is slipping. They can't hide the truth when we're broadcasting it live, unfiltered, and unstoppable. Until tomorrow's Raw Feed, I'm Gary Franchi reminding you to stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay free. We'll see you right here. Same time, same fight, same uncompromising truth. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America, and God bless all of our troops on this beautiful Memorial Day.